New birth, it's time to rest, refresh, and refocus. It's Sabbatical Rewind.
Our sovereign Savior, after creating the universe in 6 days, decided he needed to rest. I want to know how, as mere mortals, we don't practice better self-care. After 17 weeks of tirelessly producing top-notch ministry here at New Birth, I imposed a sabbatical on our entire staff. As a consequence, we're shut down, but I wanted to provide you with our Rewind Revival every day at 12:30 and at night, where you'll get Snapchats of what I've done in interviews and lectures and sermons that I hope will keep you going. Because even while we're rewinding backwards, I want you to always push forward. Do me a favor, tag somebody, text somebody, tell somebody. I don't feel no ways tired. Come too far from where I started from. Stay tuned. I promise you, you're going to be blessed.
And was awarded honorary doctorates of law from Tougaloo College, North Carolina Central University, and the New England School of Law. Ogletree has appeared on PBS, Nightline, This Week with David Brinkley, Today, Good Morning America, Larry King, Live, Meet the Press, BET Tonight with Tavis Smiley, weeknights at 11:30 on Black Entertainment Television. Charles Ogletree is presently counsel for the Washington, D.C. firm of Jordan Keys, Jessamy and Botts. In 1991, Professor Ogletree served as the legal counsel to Professor Anita Hill during the Senate confirmation hearings for Justice Clarence Thomas. We give you now the afternoon panel with these august black thought leaders and opinion makers under the stewardship of the great Charles Ogletree.
All right. All right, John. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. We are ready to roll. And I think the first thing we have to say when you look at this panel and look at this audience, that the state of Black America right now is good. And these folks are responsible. Let's thank them. Our challenge today is to try to take what we started with this morning and go higher. Because we talked about a lot of the problems, we identified some of the sources of those problems, and we have to get to some of the solutions. And when we have these large forums, we often go to our elder statesmen to tell us what we need to do. I'm going to change the program today because there are some young people here who have some ideas about the future. And I think we need to listen to them to help us through this next millennium. So we're going to start with a different attitude. I'm going to call on the three leaders of youth in this nation, whether it's entrepreneurial, whether it's spiritual, whether it's in the media or education. They are three brilliant representatives of all of us. And they're going to have a conversation about what's wrong with this and how do we start to set the agenda for Black America. I'm going to be speaking to Reverend Jamal Bryant, to Darian Dash, and to Farai Chidea. Let me start with Reverend Bryant. Reverend Bryant, you spend all your time talking to young people. We've just went through this election. We went through all these different processes. What are young people feeling about America today, and what are they feeling about Black America that you want to make sure that we hear today?
I think that what young America feels first about Black America, I feel what young America feels about Black America is that they are looking for a well in the desert. They're looking for leadership, number one, at home. That they're not looking for a leader in a press conference or at a rally or at a march or on the steps of the U.S. Capitol, but they're looking for mothers to be mothers, for fathers to be fathers, and not trying to be friends, but being leadership in the house. Secondly, I think that they're looking for a standard of excellence for themselves. So many times in Black History Month, we talk about history that has passed, but not talk about history that is living. The challenge for our young people is to make history for the next generation that comes behind, that C's are not acceptable, that mediocrity is not something that we will tolerate, but there is a standard of excellence And if we don't set that standard of excellence for our young people, then they'll be lost in the mire as to whether Puffy really had a gun or not, whether or not the distribution from Master P is global. What the young people really want to know about is how it is that they can make a difference, how they can have an impact, how that they will have a feed-in for the economic future of America, so that they're not forced into a drug-ridden society to survive, but they can in fact be pharmacists and doctors in order to live and to sustain.
Jackson just a second, that one of the things that everyone's applauding this idea of technology, and everyone understands that we have a lot, you know, 1 million African-American men and women in jails and prison today, and yet what are we doing, your sense on the local level, the community level, what should we be doing instead of applauding to make sure that Black America's agenda includes the forgotten Black men and women who are in prison today?
Right. I think, number one, I want to thank my brother for bringing us to have an agenda.
Right.
That we move from actions to words, from words to actions. And I think that's what young people are calling for, is a move from rhetoric to results. That we start doing the paralysis of analysis and get down deep into what is it that has to happen. With all of these churches that are open just Sunday 11 to 1 and have all of this open space that they're not utilizing, with all the teachers that are right there within the sanctuary, and yet people in Sunday school can't read the Sunday school manual. I think at some point we have to deal with the bare bones and the basics. At this point, the agenda goes back to what we talked about, is an issue of education. We can't plug in the computer if our children can't conjugate verbs. And once the computer is on, what happens if they can't count change at McDonald's? And so we have to deal with the basic fundamentals of education. Then leads us to technology, but we cannot do that with the absence of morality, because there are a lot of people who are rich but don't have ethics. And if we don't move to the point where we have a sense of community, the African proverb says it takes a whole village to raise a child, but if the village is crazy, it's going to raise crazy children.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. That's true. Stanley Crouch. Stanley.
Smiley scholars in the room. There are a number of youth to leaders alumni. Let me ask them to stand where they are and ask you to applaud these young people as they stand. Thank you. From that, thank you. All the proceeds for all the products you buy today, the tapes, et cetera, benefit the foundation. Chosen from this group, one of our Smiley scholars and Youth to Leaders alumni, Jonathan Quarles, now a student at FAMU. We gave Jonathan a little scholarship money to get to FAMU. He's going to ask the first question this afternoon.
Thank you, Tavis. This first question is for Reverend Jamal Bryant. Do you think that the current hip-hop rap music, such as Common, Outkast, The Roots, or Mos Def, have a positive or a negative impact through its new definition of Black culture?
Let's try to get a 30-second response.
I think that it is very positive, and I think it's more important for us that we make an investment into the positive rap music. Unfortunately, only the negative rap music seems to get the press, and it seems to get their contract extended because they go triple platinum, when the positive rap artists can't get a contract because we don't support them. Even within our own Black radio stations and our own Black entertainment television that will support music that talks about backing that thing up and shake what your mama gave you, instead of using thinking with what God gave you. But it's up to us to monitor, to curtail, and demand a level of excellence that our Black women are not used in music to be degraded and disrespected, but to be used enlightened and to be empowered.
Reverend Jackson, quick comment? We have now time for each of the panelists to give their final 30-second challenge to the agenda. What is the agenda for Black America? Each of you have a chance to say something briefly and concretely that this audience and the television audience and those that they will be talking to can take away. Farai Chidea, what would you offer?
Yes, sir.
Reverend Bryant, 30 seconds.
Yes, sir. In order for us to be serious about an agenda, number one is that we have to make our children a priority. that we're making an investment for our future through our young people. We can no longer allow children to come at election time and kiss our babies and not give after-school programs and give prenatal care. Second thing is dealing with education. We have access to technology, but we use it for entertainment and not empowerment. And so at Christmas time, we buy our children Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, but we don't buy a computer. At some point, we have to unplug cable, unplug the VCR, put our foot down and say, as for me and my house, not only will we serve the Lord, but we'll graduate, move out of the house, and get a job. The next thing is that we have to... Next thing is that dealing with our agenda, not only do we deal with that, but we have to return back to our spirituality. That we need a revival of our spirits. When we were broke, we prayed more. When we didn't have good government jobs, we knew how to go to the Lord. But now that we've moved to the suburbia and got the Lex Coupe Beamer and the Benz, now we think that we've got here by ourselves. But it's not until we return back and understand I will look to the hills from whence cometh my help. That's where our help will be able to come from.
I know you were blessed. It's making me go back in time just looking at it, but I'm going into the future believing it. I want you to partner with me. You already know by now I'm in the middle of a series, the top 10. I want you to sow a seed that is reflective of what you are expecting God to do. And the only thing I ask is you do it in denominations of 10. If you can't give 10, give 50. Can't give 50, give 100. Can't give 100, give 1,000. If you can't give 1,000, if you give 1 million, I'll be your best friend. But I'm believing by faith that God's going to do something. So right now, all the prompts are available on the screen. And do me a favor, don't forget to tune in tomorrow, this exact same time, because we going way back.
That's right. New Birth, it's time to testify. Tell us how your obedience and trusting in God's word in the area of your tithes and offerings turned a page in your life. If you have a testimony, text NB Top 10 to 71441 right now. And make sure to mark your calendars for Demonstration Sunday, taking place on our virtual platform on September 13, 2020. We are encouraging all members and frequent visitors to collectively tithe that day and others to commit to start tithing. Let's begin tithing together and watch God take care of the rest. This is a public service announcement. We are calling all retirees, seniors, single parents, entrepreneurs, students ages 17 to 25, educators, furloughed workers, married couples, first responders, creatives, those in technology, and committed visitors. Join Dr. Jamal Bryant for a very special Zoom and prayer call. You don't want to miss this brief moment of instruction and impartation from Pastor Bryant. Make sure you sign up by texting NB Top 10 to 71441 and complete the ministry form. New Birth, this is Sabbatical. Time to rest, refresh, and refocus. Join us again today at 7:30 p.m. Eastern for another Sabbatical Rewind.